Welcome to Nostalgia Pilots, a Mobile Fighter G Gundam fan cast that can't bear the sight of cowardliness. I'm Hugh.
I'm Jurd.
And I'm Jason.
I'm Spence.
And we're here to talk about G Gundam Episode 18, Steal the Secret, Scheme of the Beautiful Warriors.
Yes, Scheme of the Beautiful Warriors.
So, first of all, you turn up with Domon and Rain on the Land of the Lost. That's literally what it looks like. Beautiful landscape, lots of waterfalls, lots of trees, great training ground. And then Domon takes out that rusty-ass sword, and I'm like, in your travels to this place, you didn't stop to clean and sharpen your fucking sword? What the hell is...
I do want to, however, take a moment to note that as beautiful as this territory is, it's all a still image of this territory because we are saving money on animation right up front with this episode.
There are so many still images in this episode.
I do also want to warn our listeners, I will be yelling through most of this episode. I do not apologize. I have feelings.
Listen, wait. I love this episode because this changes. Actually, it doesn't change how I feel Chibity should treat Rain, but it just means that Chibity's poly family of crew members now has met Rain and understands why he liked Rain, so they all want Rain to join their little polycule, and I want that because Domon's a dick. Chibity shows
also,
feelings.
They're a girl gang.
Yes, they're awesome.
No, we're not there yet. But I have feelings. So
okay,
that puffy jacket, man.
Domon's like, hey, I'm going to train here. And then we cut to America where we see Chibity.
No, Domon doesn't just say, I'm going to train here. He screams and jumps off a cliff.
I mean, it's cliff diving. It's fine.
He does a lot of that.
Sword first.
And you
do.
And also, you don't cliff dive when you know there's rocks in it. Like, you want to go find a lake or something. Domon's like, oh, that shallow river? Let's go.
Was it just me, or did his shirt seem to be phasing in and out of existence during these waterfall jumps as well? Like, he would go in fully inshirted and come out shirtless, and then a couple scenes later...
There was a scene in, I think it was the second time that they do the bit where he jumps off the waterfall, where he rips it off in one motion.
That's how shirts work, apparently.
Yeah, Rain is going to be doing a lot of sewing of buttons that evening.
A lot of Domon's Gundam Fighter budget is on new shirts.
We do get to Chibity and his crew, and again, I'm struck by how Optimus Prime his mobile suit is. Like, wow, did that color scheme strike you as Optimus?
It is, and even when he's using the core lander, I don't know if you guys know this, or am I the only super Transformers dude? Because it looks like RC, the little car that comes out of the back of Optimus's trailer that scouts for him. Or no, not RC. His name's Roller. Sorry, his name was Roller. And there was the episode where the mine blew up and Optimus rolled down the hill, and he's like, Roller, where's Roller? And little Roller rolls out, and he's just like, I'm good, man.
Once again, we can appreciate that Chibity's Gundam has an 8-pack. I think that's clear. But
he does core day. He never skips core.
But so the thing that I think is really poignant about this whole scene is the moment that it gets difficult for Chibity, he starts to have a PTSD hallucination.
This moment made me realize just how better well-written Chibity's character is than Domon.
So what happens is he starts seeing DG cells on his arms again. And then he starts seeing the faces of the zombie fighters coming at him. And he just lets go and starts, wailing on his opponent, ripping off the arms. And it takes several moments before his crew is like, Chibity, you gotta stop. And in many depictions of and many accounts of people who have had those severe PTSD reactions, these violent reactions, they have similar experiences. So I thought it was very well written and executed. But then there's the stranger.
Okay, before we get to the stranger and his terrible advice, I do want to bring up the opponent that Chibity is fighting, because we don't get a name or a pilot or even like a shot of the pilot. But
he
that
uses two swords.
Yes, that is Neo-Mongolia's Temujin Gundam. And the pilot's name, according to the Gundam fandom wiki, is Kilharn, which is the best name for a Gundam pilot. And I'm very mad that like Domon's name is not Kilharn, because that is awesome.
Wait, what? Hold on. Oh God, what was the line from Jessica Jones? Was it when Kilgrave says his name? She's like, "What was murder, death taken, or something like that?"
but I just think the Temujin Gundam looks cool. It's got like it's very Sandrocky. It's got two big curvy swords that like are electrified.
It is very Sandrocky.
I love the helmet. I love the homage to Mongolian culture. It was very well done, and unfortunately, it got beaten to smithereens.
Well, okay, so not to
they're on the Brooklyn Bridge. That's the other important part, is that they're on the Brooklyn Bridge, and like when Chibity comes out of his hallucination, he has destroyed the bridge.
Is that Chibity's first national treasure?
That's the part that actually, as I absolutely agree with Spence, that sequence with the DG cells and coming out of it and him freaking out is very effective. The one part that kind of detracted from that for me was he's getting his butt just handed to him by the Mongolian pilot. And then he has his little freak out, and that's all very good. But his solution is to remember, oh yeah, I have a gun. And he shoots him twice. Like, he shoots off his arm immediately. And that, like, oh yeah, the gun. Like, I just felt like that was a little bit whatever.
Well, I mean, that actually, that's a very common thing for people who are stressed out. Like, let's take video games for example. I watch a friend of ours play a new to him game, Mass Effect, and he keeps forgetting that he has the ability to use like space magic. And so it's like you don't remember it's there until after you are out of the stressful moment. And then you go, oh yeah, I have this thing. So
that's absolutely fair.
And also,
I think it does work, because like he was trying to use his special attack with the gloves and it wasn't working. Like his opponent countered it. So like the only thing he really has is the guns.
Yeah, and one of the things we've all noticed is that for all the Gundam shows we've watched, they don't use their Vulcans enough. Like, you have head-mounted cannons, like miniguns, that they don't really use. I mean, even Hiro Yui only used his beam rifle. You know, he used it a little bit. The heavy arms had to use guns because it's literally a giant gun with legs. Whereas Chibity is a boxer, so it kind of, as a person who's done sports before, and whenever you do sports, you kind of have a thing that you're really good at. You know, Michael Jordan had, his fadeaway that he's known for and his ability to dribble, and he's never run into anywhere that it didn't work on because he was Michael Jordan. He was the best at it. But for other people who aren't godly when it comes to a sport, when that one thing you have that doesn't work and you meet your match, you kind of freeze and don't know what to fall back on because you're just so used to having that technique. And so I think because Chibity's a boxer, it's kind of like the Tyson Fury fight that just happened. Tyson Fury versus, oh gosh, I can't think of his name. Either way, Tyson Fury knocked this dude unconscious. And that dude cannot beat Tyson Fury. And in this case, Chibity ran up to someone his punches didn't work. Like and as so far as we've seen, he didn't have another technique to use. And so it's kind of like, oh, I do have a gun. Yes, Chibity, you have a gun because you are a boxer for sure, but your Gundam is a robot.
And it's also American.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will also note that he's not carrying like a head-mounted Gatling gun or something. He has basically a 6-shooter on his hip. Like, yep. Yeah, okay, he's an American.
He open carries. Oh God,
but
he does.
But the crew is sort of like talking to each other about what are we going to do? This is a problem. How can we help Chibity
and
get
there's
back
a creepy
in the
old
game?
man watching, like, nonchalantly all this destruction happening.
Okay, I have missed a few of the obvious, like, oh, that's actually Doman's brother things before. But the moment that old guy showed up, I was like, oh yeah, that's a German ninja. Like, I can smell a German ninja upwind that is a German ninja.
So he's just like, he's spouting off all this knowledge, and it's not that the bunnies are like, whatever, dude. I'm like, if he's talking like that, he is probably a retired fighter or an active fighter in disguise, and clearly he is a master of disguise. And wants to be a member of the Turtle Club. Anyway.
For me, I was like, is he gonna be Chibity's Mickey? Like, is this about to turn into Rocky? And is he gonna be like, I ain't heard no bell?
100% the vibe I had to, yeah absolutely.
Like, is he gonna make Chibity chase a chicken?
But on the flip side, I also learned basically in that same sequence that to some extent, Chibity is like, well, the Queen of England. He's sort of a aspirational figurehead, and really, it's the ladies who run everything and convince him to do basically everything. And
but are we really that surprised, though, considering Domon's relationship with Rain?
No, not at all.
Now, hold on. As someone who was raised by all females, I get it. They know better. Let's just be honest. Like, they know better. We're kind of dumb as male presenting cis gentleman. I've done a lot of dumb shit, and my aunts, my mother, my grandmother have corrected me wholeheartedly and quickly. So I understand why they tell Chibity what to do. He's also a boxer, meaning he would, if he can't punch it, he doesn't know what to do. Like, he's
probably had so many concussions that he needs a little help.
Oh, he most definitely probably has some CTE. Like, he most definitely does.
Well, there's also the way he gets handled in that next sequence, right? Because the German ninja is like, hey, you've got to do something, and they're like, fine, let's come up with a plan.
But the plan sounds like they're setting him up on a date. They're like, gonna give him a makeover.
Yeah, it also seems like terrible advice considering what he's going through. It's like, well, he's having this very stressful, thing going on with this unresolved thing that happened with the Devil Gundam. He needs to fight a stronger opponent. Like, no.
Yes,
that's not gonna make things better.
I think what they were thinking of is he needs to fight a familiar opponent. Because if you fight a familiar opponent, that opponent will not necessarily correlate to that terrible thing. Or it could have the opposite effect and throw him into that hallucinatory state, and he won't be able to come out.
Yeah,
I think it's definitely like shonen logic there, where it's like he just needs to train hard enough to level up, and then he'll get all his hit points back.
Yeah, like, if you guys have seen Baki the Grappler, it's basically the Yujiro Hanma style of learning how to fight. Oh, I feel my son is weak, but he's got my blood, so I want him to be strong. I'm going to throw him in a cave and make him fight a bear. Oh, he doesn't want to fight, and I can't push him to fight? Fine, I'll murder his mother so he'll want to fight me for revenge. Like, it is the worst form of therapy ever. They're
speaking of a lack of therapy, actually, that next scene is when Chibity comes in drunk and everyone's abandoned him.
He's like, what the hell? Where'd they all go?
I would love to be the person who had to explain to that Walmart representative, no, he's not drunk, he's just really tired.
So the bunnies, when they ditch their uniforms and they go for more of an 8th MS team kind of uniform,
they're awesome.
Yes.
I was very happy about that in my very queer ways.
Okay, I don't want to jump forward, but I do want to make sure that we touch on their streetwear from when they were Urshins as well, because that was like the sweetest 90s street gang.
they literally looked like something that was coughed up out of a Salt and Pepper music video.
Yup.
And it was awesome. One of them even had a puffy jacket.
Yeah, Bunny had the puffy jacket. She had a big pink bow and pink triangle sunglasses.
Listen.
I was here for it.
I think it says something that we skipped part of Domon's training, right? There was another waterfall.
Oh yeah, there was another
no one
scene
cares.
where
We're gonna have a
Doman dropped off the cliff. And
basically, it was a setup to, hey, Rain's tired. Like, she's enjoying the fresh air, but she's tired and bored and falls asleep, giving Chibity's crew the opening to do their ill-advised plan of jumping into the Shining Gundam and stealing.
It's ill-advised, but can we just say they're awesome? Coordinated infiltration with secrecy and espionage, like Overwatch. Like, they're not just a 90s street gang. Just like Rain has been trained in martial arts and wrestling by her college boyfriend.
And medicine.
These girls have probably trained with like 007 or something, because they're part of the Mission Impossible crew. Like, these girls handle business.
Yeah. They have gone to the Guyana Highlands to like pull a heist, and they get very far with it.
To the point where they do pull a gun on Rain, which is a bit of a moment.
But so in their flashback, they also flash back to why they are so loyal to Chibity, which makes me really angry. Can I tell you all why I'm so angry?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Freaking white man savior complex!
Yep.
Yep. So, the only thing that I will say about this is that because this came out in the late 80s or the early 90s, you weren't going to have a black guy as a hero. It just wasn't going to happen. And also, as independent and as strong as these women are in almost every other situation, not revolving directly with their Gundam pilot, you weren't going to have them be to save themselves. Like, the 90s would not allow that. And it sucks. And it's definitely not the case, because as we see, they run the show, right?
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about it is that so they save up. They use all of their skills. They're trying to get off Earth and onto the colonies, and they get on the ship. They're finally on the ship, and then they get caught as stowaways. They're about to get ejected back onto Earth, and Chibity goes, "You look cute. You can be my pit crew."
Yeah, that's what I was going. That's what I was going to say. It's
cute.
So casual.
They're hungry in the same way he was.
Yeah, it's so interstitial. That's the part that rubbed me wrong. Is it's just like almost this flip decision on his part. Like, why don't you guys tag along? I'm some white guy. I have enough power to keep you out of jail.
What? I think honestly, like you said, if this was done today, Chibity would have seen them and seen himself in them, like the struggle when he was out in the alleyway and he was hungry. Like, he would have solved that.
He didn't say that, but like
the line. The line in the dub is that, or in the sub is that your eyes remind me like mine when I was. Yeah. When I was.
That's what it is in the dub too.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and now do I think he should have said pretty? No, but I will give Chibity this, because Chibity's honestly my favorite character in the show. He honestly, and I say this without any joke, he cares for them. When you look at the other Gundam pilots, none of them have this type of relationship with their crew. Saisashi is reluctant. His monk leaders have to force him, basically. Argo is a prisoner and a slave to the Russian government. And we all know Domon is super emotionally abusive to Rain.
Yeah.
So Chibity does have a whole bunch of male gaze to structure his actions in this scene. But we do see that he does care for them and does appreciate them. And he also understands them, which is something I don't think Domon has any concept of. He doesn't understand Rain at all. Mm-hmm. But he is white Jesus in this moment.
So when they do the flashback to the present and the redhead is like, we got what we came for, and she holds up the disc. I want to know what superpower Rain has to know telepathically what the hell is on that disc. Because all she says is, no, it can't be. And I'm like, it can't be what? How do you see that? How do you know what is on that disc? I want to know what you have implanted in your eyes, young lady.
Hey, I
feel like it's just sort of like the plot is like really the only thing they could be stealing is the data on the Gundam. So
I want to know why they were like, if you know Domon is training and Chibity is in the area, who gives a hell if Rain wants to stop you? There's 4 of you. Beat her ass, steal that data. Like, as good as Rain is, she's not beating 4 people good.
Well, hang on. So Chibity shows up, and he's like, I'm going to catch up to those girls, find out what the hell they're doing. Then he sees Domon shirtless and goes, Domon, he's training. I have to train too. I must become stronger. And then it starts to rain. And so then you see his bunnies running away from Rain, like trying to get away. And they're like, well, there's 4 of us. How is she keeping up with us? And she's running in heels. This does not make sense. How is she not the Gundam pilot?
Rain is the Terminator.
And my thing about that is, she also then spear tackles them off a cliff and is not hurt.
Yeah, I just want to see like the remake of Predator starring Rain and Chibity's crew.
Well, first off, none of them would die, and the Predator would be outmatched wholeheartedly. As much as I love the
Predator in this situation.
Oh, well, great. So Chibity's crew dies. Got it.
There is a moment while Domon's training in which the movie, like, I don't know if you guys noticed it or if it just stood out to me, but the soundtrack goes into this weird horror movie background noise, like he's about to be attacked by Michael Myers.
A little bit. And I think it's to create the tension between Domon and Chibity, but also in Domon's mind, because he's still trying to slice through a tree with that rusty-ass sword that he has not taken care of. What the hell, Domon? I'm about to beat you. But then Chibity shows up, and he's like, I challenge you to a duel. Okay. Training montage some more.
Yeah. Like, I'm not sure why Chibity was, like, surprised to see Domon in the place where they were like, we're leaving you for Domon. That logic follows that you would be expect to see Domon there, but he's somehow surprised to watch Domon try and fight a waterfall.
The real surprise is that they both spontaneously combust. That was the part I wasn't expecting.
That was very shonen.
And how does Chibity see what Domon is fighting in his mind? He's like, I see it now. Listen, and then sees this hallucinatory devil Gundam.
So I know the answer to this, and I know it wholeheartedly because
ayahuasca.
Because sorry, ayahuasca probably, but in Baki, I've referenced Baki twice already in this episode. There's a new series out to finish up the Baki series. Baki shadow boxes against what he thinks is one of the greatest fighters of all time. And it's actually Mike Tyson. So he's fighting who they call Iron Mike. And someone is watching him shadow box, Mr. and he starts getting bruises, and he's bleeding from the mouth where he gets hit by the shadow person he's fighting. So I think the same principle is here. Domon is shadowboxing so hard with his shonen powers that Chibity understands and realizes what's going on. And that's why he can see the Devil Gundam as Domon's sparring partner. Like, honestly, listeners, if you're not watching Baki, you need to watch Baki. Yeah. Like Baki's nuts. But in this case, this is why he can see it. It's because Domon is training so hard and so full of shonen youth power that it just transcends. And Gona Guy jumping up and down because Gona Guy knows it's excellent.
I do have to say at this point that, like, Baki's dad, Ranma's dad, and Shinji's dad are probably all in like the same terrible parenting discord.
Don't forget Goku. Don't forget Goku, because let's be honest.
Oh,
he's the worst dad.
I was about to go in a different direction with the Goku reference, because they both go Super Saiyan, and then the German ninjas up on that hill going, they're over 9,000. Like,
Yeah.
In the subtitle, he says, the lion cubs are sharpening their claws.
He said that in the dub too, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been raining for a bit, and Rain has turned off predator mode and is now in doctor mode, treating the ankle of one of the bunnies, and then
Velma.
Sure, no, it's not Velma.
It's actually Shirley.
I'm joking because she looks like Velma from Scooby-Doo. I have no idea what her name is.
No, it's the brown-haired. It's not the brown-haired girl with glasses. It's the other brown-haired girl. But anyway, so they all meet up because Shirley is the redhead.
I thought Kath was the redhead. I'm entirely confused about who's who.
Nobody pays attention to names. Don't call me Shirley.
No, it's Shirley who's the redhead, right?
Correct.
Oh my God! Oh God!
Get cut off by water because mudslide.
Yep.
And they're like, well, we gotta call for Chibity. I don't want to call for Chibity. He'll be so mad. Call for Chibity, damn it, or we're gonna die. Okay, flare gun. And Chibity stops his fight because he's a responsible adult sometimes, and does the thing.
When he's not drunk driving a giant robot.
When he's not drunk driving a robot. So then we get to what the title of this episode should have been, which is Gundam Fight, Mudslide, or whatever you guys said in the beginning. What was it? I'm going to punch the river?
Yeah.
I'm going to punch this flood to death.
Yeah. And
they proceed to fight the river like their boyfriend was murdered by the Trojans.
And Domon has been trying to get back to his super shining finger or whatever he's calling it. And he doesn't actually pull the inspiration until once again he looks at Rain. This is what happened the last time he was able to access it. So I think he really just needs to have a snapshot of Rain inside his pilot's area, you know, or like a recording of Rain crying out in terror, just be like his trigger, because that's the only time he's able to do it.
Well,
only time.
And the worst part is the German ninja tells him, like, oh, I see you got this power, but can you use it all the time? What happened there? I'm out, deuces, and just vanishes. Like,
just going to take a moment to put in a word for, yeah, that German suit still makes me a little uncomfortable. All right.
Now, I was going to say,
agree.
You guys mentioned it. You guys mentioned it earlier because we did before this. We did what, 8th MS team,
mm-hmm.
And you talked about the outfits they wear. Surely, a redhead in the tank top and khakis.
I noticed she looks exactly like what's her name?
Karen.
And she's the tough one. She's the one who quietly cares. Like, I was like, in her head,
tragic past, and the permission to drive a Gundam, and yeah, she's Karen.
And very large hair. Because Karen, or I should say, Shirley has Ed from Cowboy Bebop hair. Sharon has very large, like, curls. Almost. But as you were talking earlier, I was like, oh my God, she is the Karen from 8th MS team. And it's almost tragically so, because we wanted more Karen, and we didn't get it in 8th MS team. We do get a backstory for these guys in Gundam, G Gundam. But honestly, it's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
I need to see the escapades of the crew girls when there were a female gang, because I think they would have a fun time. I don't think it would be Gundam based, but it would definitely be like Rapscallion, like running about the streets, doing what you need to do. Like, I think it'd be fun. Like, probably like the beginning part of Iron Blood Orphans, if you've seen that.
So here's my my pitch for Disney or Funimation or whatever. Think What If or Origins, but with the G Gundam crew teams. I mean, I'd watch it.
Oh, I would absolutely watch it. You listen. You're gonna tell me some tsundere redhead is gonna be in a tank top and khakis and doing all kinds of shenanigans with her friends in 90s era popular wear? I'm with it. I'm super with it.
What I was bummed about what we got was that it turned into like, well, you guys really inspired me, and it's all about me, Chibity, so thanks. Like, he flashes the crest, and they're like, we'll do better, Chibity, and he's like, don't even worry about it, girls, I'm super good.
Yeah.
Live up to this. Like, it was a little, anyway.
Yeah,
Shirley does try to walk away, but Chibity's like, where are you going? We're a team, right?
Now Chibity does have the female crest, if I'm not mistaken.
He is the Queen of Hearts.
Yeah,
yes,
he's
the Queen of Spades. Yeah.
Which again, as a person raised by all women, shows he understands in his heart of hearts, in his kingdom of hearts, he knows that the ladies run this show.
I'm also thinking of the card reference, and I'm going, if you're playing Hearts, the Queen of Spades is the highest point count in that game.
So I don't want to be that guy, but you know that I'm prone to pausing the show as we go. And when that crest actually comes up, it doesn't say Queen of Spades. It says Queen the Spade 1713.
I think that's because 1713 is when that's the origin of the Royal Flush Club, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like the 13th Gundam fight, so...
Yeah. There's...
Well, he's also got a number 12 on there, if I recall correctly, so I don't know if that's...
I have no idea.
Yeah, anyway, but it's Queen the Spade, not Queen of Spades, or something.
To be fair, we'd have to read the manga probably to see actually, like, what all that means, because in this show, we don't really get an origin story for Master Asia. Mm-hmm. But in the manga, he has like a whole arc.
Yeah, that's a whole thing for the manga. But and while the crest, Japanese
interestingly, English, and about the Queen of Spades, apparently it is a Russian allegory. So there's that. Look it up on Wikipedia.
So, as you know, spotty as that English is, I do want to shout out this episode because the letter that they leave Chibity is actually very good. Like,
yeah, we skimmed past it, but yeah, you are absolutely. I absolutely agree. I did pause that as well and found that I was surprised at how well it came across. It was not Photoshop instructions this time around.
It was not Photoshop instructions. It wasn't someone talking about the rain in French. It was an actual letter that conveyed basically the sentiments that got translated when they were talking. So well done, producers, on writing a coherent English letter. And then, like, animating it.
Look, again, I love Chibity. And Chibity, honestly, he's a knucklehead. But again, he's doing his best. And that's why I love Chibity. And in this whole situation, again, this is a poly family. Because you don't, like, run up and, like, embrace the guy you're training just because they talk to you nicely. Mm-hmm. Like, I love the dynamic between Chibity and his crew, and it gives you a kind of a feeling that he understands them even individually. We don't get to see them individually, which I think is kind of bad because they're like, you could definitely give all these women their own type of thing to set them apart. But again, we're talking 90s sensibility versus 2021. And if we was making this in 2021, each woman would definitely have their own arc and reasoning behind following Chibity and helping Chibity. But for the 90s, I will solidly give them some cred here, because even though in the translation he talks about how pretty they are, they also tie it with, I see myself in you. I see the hunger and all that stuff. And if it was only that, it would be great. Because let's be honest, we haven't seen Domon do much of any relating to Rain at all. And in my brain, Chibity is like, I see that. I see that Domon is not that dude. Come over here. We're great.
Yeah, I remember that the episode closes on Rain and Domon, but I don't remember what their interaction was at all. It was totally Chibity and the girls that dominated sort of the episode for me.
Mm-hmm. In the sub, Rain says, when she sees the girls say, when she sees Chibity say, with our training, I'm going to show you all that I can teach you, and we'll get better together, basically. Rain says, yeah, and for our training, we'll work together and do good too. And Domon just simply says, yeah.
Thanks, Domon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like Domon's not here for it. He's like, sure, I'm gonna go punch this waterfall again. I'll see you later.
And that's the part that kills me about Domon. Like, honestly, we have gotten slightly better in our shonen protagonists now in 2021, but Domon is literally the only way you can get more shonen protagonist than Domon is if you're doing Fist of the North Star or Berserk. Like those two things are the most shonen ever, and Domon's trying to get there.
I will say that one thing that we did miss before this whole resolution of, we're going to train better, is that Schwarzbruder came and was the one to save the ladies. It was neither of the fighters. It was Schwarzbruder.
Because they were fighting the water rather than saving the people.
Speaking of things that we missed, I just wanted to touch on the fact that, again, welcome to post-apocalyptic Earth, the most beautiful place you'll ever visit. Like, yes. Oh, how we trashed this planet. This gorgeous,
clean
gorgeous.
Air. I'm bored.
Like I do like that scene where Rain's got her feet in the water and you clearly see all these fish around her and she's like, I'm gonna take a nap. And I'm like, I hope those are piranhas.
Oh, actually, one of the things that I love about, like, it's just a little thing, but it's one of those Gundam things that I love about the various series, is in that shot while she's sitting there kind of loafing, the Gundam, the suit's behind her, but it's on like a lower level. It's standing at the bottom of the cliff. So it's really just its head and shoulders. And it's just one of those little moments, but it's almost like an end credit sequence worthy little slice of life. I always dig that when there's a weird use of the sense of scale.
That's because Gundam Wing broke your brain with the fact that old girl from Gundam Wing decided to go hang out with a giant rhino in the end credits.
Yeah, okay. I will say that I do kind of miss having it, because as we get to the end of this, it's just sort of what it is. That cheapy still, well, it's not quite a still, but I do miss having a weird, totally unconnected, unrelated animated sequence to close out the show.
Yeah, Relina's Safari is also missed on this end too.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm glad they started with Chibity, because I'll tell you, Spence and Jurd, that this basically starts the mini arc of everybody who's not Domon getting used to their newfound status as a part of the royal flush gang.
Okay, yeah, I
good, because I was bored with Domon's bullshit.
Yeah, well, I kind of assumed that was going to be what it was. We were going to go one by one and establish their roles, essentially.
I mean, honestly, if you cut Domon out of it and just made it so that Chibity punched enough to make the flood go away, nothing would change.
Yeah. But while we're talking Chibity, I will say that my favorite moment is something we haven't touched on, and it's just so nonsensical. When he gets that letter and decides he's going to go chase the girls, he doesn't immediately like, buy an airplane ticket or even hop in his fancy, go boat bird plane thing. No, he gets on his goddamn Gundam suit surfboard and decides to cruise on out. There's an extended sequence of him surfing to South America.
And he had to surf in the robot because they took the seaplane.
Okay, well, at least we're having internal consistency. That makes it make sense.
But he does, in that moment, go, wow, look at this scenery. You don't find that in the colonies, which goes back to what you guys mentioned earlier about how people talk about how Earth is wrecked, but they find the most beautiful scenery everywhere they go.
Maybe there was a time when the oceans were just filled with surfing Gundam and it was absolutely horrible. It was like a tourist beach. I don't know. Anyway, so that was my favorite moment. That surfboard thing cracked me up to no end.
I don't think it's I wouldn't say it's a favorite, but it is the moment that I appreciated the most, and that was that whole sequence with Chivity's PTSD hallucination. I think it was, again, I know I'm repeating myself, but it was beautifully executed and written. So it's not a favorite moment, but it is the moment that I appreciated the most in this episode.
Yeah, for me, my favorite part would have to be basically, and this is a little bit of looking to the future, but if this was made in 2021, the scene where Chibity shows his crest and talks with the girls and his crew would have been a moment where he tells them how important they are to him and how he's sorry he doesn't show that enough. Because growing up through the 90s, I see the way they verbalize things. And they even go so far in that scene to show Chibity's eyes kind of giving you that I'm almost about to cry anime look.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's my favorite scene. I like the fact that he was willing to admit to them that in the most indirect 90s way, that he needs them. And that they are training along with him. I'm also giving him a slight pass because I do love Chibity. Chibity is my favorite character in this. But that whole segment with them admitting that they tried to steal the thing and Chibity is like, it's okay. And all of that's my favorite. And let's be real. We don't really get that from Domon. Domon's the hero of the show. We don't get it from him. But we do get it from the bullish American who has a gun on his hip. Which... can we just do something else? Can he have a sword? I don't know, does America have to be equated with guns, even in the 90s?
What if it was a sword with a gun in it?
His name is not Squall.
Oh God, Squall.
What about you, Hugh? What was your favorite?
Squall so much. Since no one else is claiming it, I'm going to take the girl gang.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Absolutely.
Outfit.
I'm pretty sure I had her coat as a Chicago
doing crimes
Bulls.
in post-future America.
In beautiful, well-maintained post-apocalyptic America. Honestly, until Chibity took out that bridge, the infrastructure in post-apocalyptic America is probably better than current America. But anyway.
You're not wrong. We need our milk in a bag, too. It's fine.
Okay, so next week we'll be back talking about episode 19 of G Gundam, Fierce Battle, Dragon Gundam versus Bolt Gundam. So we get to see them. So we get two other people fighting each other, which is cool. And until next week, you can find all of our show notes over at nostalgiapilots.com. Find everything I do at hughjodonnell.com.
You can find everything I do over at skinner.fm.
You can find everything I do at nerdswithvoices.com.
And I am most active on TikTok, so you can find me there at spence.resonant.moon.
Agnes!
Thank you.
And until next week, you've got great glittering eyes.
Thank you.